I'm going up, I know it's necessary, cause I feel like I'm body enough. I've been stuck, been here since February, man, I feel like the timing is up. Got me like, bruh, do what the fuck. I know you ain't using your noggin for nothing. Now it's a rush, you better get off of your ass. You ain't got the profit for lunch. Now I'm just
And we are back. This is actually a part 2 to the video of us talking about what do we think is separating or causing the division for men and female in today's society. And today we are talking about men's health. This is the part 2 to that video, and we're here with Elevate With Us podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get it.
And men's health. Where do you think we are as men right now?
As men, I feel like as a whole, we were getting weaker, but I feel like now men specifically are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hot? It was hot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's feeling. So as a whole, I think men are starting to wake up to what they need to do in order to become who they want to become. So as in going to the gym and having discipline and consistency within themselves. But I think where men lack the most, and I'm not saying, I feel like where men lack the most is mental health. Like their mental health, because mental health is what, then that's how your life carries on and everything else in your life. You know, gym, discipline, consistency, whatever you want to do. Men are starting to become more aware of their mental health and definitely working on it, because I feel like back in the day, mental health really wasn't a thing that people would talk about. Like people were just, no, mental health. Like, what do you mean I'm mentally healthy? Like, you know what I mean? So it was like something, not they would shun you about, but something that wasn't really spoken about till now.
I think for a long time, for years, that men's mental health, you weren't allowed to cry, you weren't allowed to really show
any type of vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability at all. And one thing, is okay to do all of that. 2, I believe that COVID showed us a lot. I don't even think I could say that on certain platforms. But 2020 showed us a lot. But that showed us a lot. And I think as a whole, we progressed and worked through it, because that's when you were allowed to really be alone with yourself and understand it. Some people did that. Some people took advantage of that. Another thing is, a lot of the times is, even with us at one point, like smoking weed, I know I did it because I don't smoke as often anymore. And I used to be an everyday smoker. And I think I used to be an everyday smoker because of what I was going through mentally, and I was kind of having something to numb that or distract my mind from that mental health. But I had to learn to work through it, and once I worked through it, I could see how much stronger I became through that. So I think there's a whole bunch of things, definitely nowadays, that, it shows that we are moving in a direction, but I feel like there's still a lot of people that aren't moving in the right direction.
Nah, definitely. Yeah, on the mental health part, it's just like, right now as a whole, men are waking up little by little. I feel like definitely in the last, I want to say 4 to 5 years, there's really been a push, for mental health. A lot of like apps and a lot of media is talking about it, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we need to learn not to blame mental health and to actually go to the root cause of it, which is the solution, and which is the awareness of it, being present, and then moving on from it. So like, not just, it's my mental health, and just keep smoking, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, it's
depressed.
actually, I'm depressed. I'm not feeling the best. You want to roll up? Like, you know what I mean? And the thing is, people don't say it. People don't say, I'm depressed, want to roll up. They're just like, yo, want to roll up? Like, want to smoke? Yo, you want to chill? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, low-key, I feel like a lot of men were in that state of just like
numbing themselves,
whether that's with alcohol, whether that's with other drugs. It doesn't matter, but with other substances, that substance, it's only temporary numbingness. Because then you still got to wake up and still live your life. And
that's when it becomes a problem because it's so temporary.
Exactly.
That's when you have to do it again.
Exactly.
And do it again,
exactly.
And do it again. And then your body starts to become more like used to that feeling. So then the feeling doesn't last as long. So now the periods in between are shorter and shorter.
And I feel like anyone who smokes weed,
drinks
every day, like smoke, anyone who does a substance every day that's really not needed, I feel like not necessarily that all of those people have issues, because some people just certainly just may be addicted to it. Like, you know what I mean? They're just, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, they're probably just addicted. They can't live without smoking, you know? It's like their life. But like, I feel like most of it, 99% of the people, is because of they're trying to hinder something inside of them, like suppress something inside of them, or like make them feel better temporarily, whether that's an insecurity they have or like not think about it. People smoke just to not think about their issues. Like, oh, I just need to get my mind off things. And when you smoke, you know, you're in your head more, but like it numbs them on what really matters in life. And trust me, I know, because I've done it for years. Years, you know what I mean? So like, definitely. And instead of going on to the what is the problem, sitting down with yourself and actually finding a solution to the problem, it's a lot easier than just buy some weed, pick up a lighter, smoke, and watch a movie and not even think about it. You know what I mean? You can't do that every day.
So there was one thing that you said that the root cause of it, and you did say it was about being present and being in the moment, but I also think it comes to actually taking a look at your past and being and going through those things again in your head, going through those things again and those emotions and those feelings and overcoming them, essentially. You know what I mean? You have to be able to, because what life does, this is what I believe life does. And I would tell a lot of people this. I believe that life is going to keep throwing you the same thing over and over and over again until you understand what it's trying to show you, you learn from it, and you correct yourself. Life is filled with lessons, and it's going to keep showing you these lessons. But until you understand those lessons and come to a point where you could go face that fear, because a lot of it is fear-based. When you could come to a point of that and you could face that, and then that's when life will start throwing you a different thing that you need to work on yourself on.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to, if you already worked on it, you're not going to see the problem continuing to show up. And if you do, you're going to know how to get through it.
Exactly.
So when it comes up again in the present moment, you'll know that, oh, I went through this before, and I know how to get through it.
Exactly. You know? Now, I'm not going to lie, that's, you hit it, boom, boom. That's pinpoint on what's the issue. Like, literally, it's fear-based. Mostly everything in life is fear-based.
Yeah.
Well, not mostly everything. Almost everything in life is fear-based. And that's beautiful that you said that, because literally if you do not face your fear head to head, it's gonna be a loop. And it's just gonna happen till you die if you don't really face your fear. And it's people that say like, oh, I don't really have fears, I'm not really insecure. So why are you acting the way you are? You obviously have something. You don't want to admit. A lot of people don't like to admit it. No one wants to admit that they have issues or they have insecurities or they have some type of fear. But like, you don't even have to admit it. I could tell on the way you act.
Nah, but that's the first step is acceptance.
Yeah, it's acceptance.
You know what I mean? Once you accept that you have that fear, and once you accept that, all right, this is a problem I have to work on, because you at some point you do have to listen to the people around you.
Yeah.
At some point you do have to be able to take criticism and be like, oh, okay, so now if it's a hater, even take that with a, you know what I mean? Take it.
But take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, take it, understand it, really look at yourself. As long as you love yourself, it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, there's always room for improvement. Like, for instance, you could love yourself fully, you know what I mean? But I believe those people who are there at that, they already know this stuff, who, you know what I mean? But once you get to a state where you understand that there's always room to grow, and you have to start looking at these past problems, like what you went through as a child that may be still in your life and working against you because you haven't learned the lesson life has taught you. These things will keep coming up and keep showing up in your life. And essentially, we want to get through those things where we could continue to progress.
To grow, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about progressing, becoming our best version of ourselves. That's what we do for this podcast. We're trying to become the best version of ourselves, as long as help people become the best version of themselves with what we're going through and what we're learning on a daily basis, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. So yeah,
and it goes back to the root cause. Like a lot of people have traumas in their life that most of it happened when they were kids, and instead of like facing that trauma, or maybe a parent or a teacher embarrassed them or said something to them, like I think that's one of the like biggest traumas, because you look up to adults when you're young. So a lot of adults are not adults. The age, yes, but not mentally.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta think about it. Adults definitely,
they have the trauma within themselves that they're trying to fix from other people. So now they're leaking it into the children of today, which is extremely dangerous, because there could be children as smart, as intelligent as Elon Musk, but because of a trauma they have, or of a trauma they experienced in the past, they will never reach their full potential, because they have trauma in their life that they're just suppressing, and it's a fear that they have within themselves, and they're not really facing it head on. Instead, they're smoking and putting it down, and instead they're not getting into the root cause and finding a solution for it to become, what they want to become.
And that brings me to a point. All right, so there's this cool fact that I know. And it's like, when you're the age of 7, until you're the age of 7, that's when your mind is like taking in everything. Yeah. That's where you form your beliefs. Really.
After you're 7-year-old, then you start having,
You know what I mean? You start, those beliefs are kind of stuck with you, and then you work on them through life. But there's this book I'm reading, and it says, the only way off the teeter-totter of self-acceptance is to gain a true perspective of who you are. One not based on other people's opinions or the world's infections. You have to begin to see yourself as a spiritual being, not just a human body with a history of experiences. Your self-worth must be anchored in something more solid than your shifting sands of daily human life or past achievements or failures. And lasting, so you will be able to weather the storms of everyday life. This brings the mind to questions that must be answered so you can determine your true worth. So that just goes to say, and I know that was kind of reading, but
that was good. That was good. Is that a power review?
Yeah. Don't be giving out my books like that. Nah, I'm just saying.
I need to read that book still.
But yeah, that just goes to say that like you have to start to form your own value of yourself. Like you have to start getting those thoughts of the value of you. It doesn't matter about what's going on outside. It doesn't matter, because to be honest, it's all within.
Everything's within, and that's like the main crux of like life. Like especially now with social media and like celebrities and all this stuff, like a lot of people attach their value to if their body looks good, you know what I mean, to how much money they have, to how many girlfriends or women they may have around us, to who's their friends. They attach value on all things that are B-shit. That bullshit, they could be shit. BS. Bullshit. Like, the only thing that really matters in the value is how you perceive yourself. That's the only thing that matters.
Perception is key.
It's how you perceive yourself. Like, if you're truly happy within yourself, you're going to be happy with $35 billion or with $1 in your bank account. You're going to be the same person. You have to be the person that you want to be no matter what is around you, or matter what whatever you think you have in value. For example, a lot of people go to the gym and they're trying to like become the hottest person ever and like this and that. Why? Because you're really insecure. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like something.
Yeah, I mean, but even if that's like what pushing it at first,
that's a good.
That's a great thing.
That's a great thing. If they're insecure and they're going to 100% do it, but like that's not the end all be all, because then you're just gonna be insecure for the rest of your life. You could look like Arnold Schwarzenegger and you're like,
nah, I disagree.
I disagree.
You know what I mean? Only to an extent, because sometimes it takes those things to push you to have action in your life.
Nah, it takes those things to push it, but it doesn't take those things to be consistent in it. You know
what I mean? It definitely does. You know what I mean? And that's why I argue with that, because a lot of people, for instance, yeah, consistency is like hard to do. You know what I mean? Like people always fall off things they say they're gonna do.
100%.
But that's because they don't show up for themselves at the end of the day. They don't really want it. But once you get, all right, so the people who are dangerous, all right, are the people who hit rock bottom and feel worthless. Because as we say, if you're stuck at the bottom, there's only one way up, and that's to elevate. Yeah. So if you're at rock bottom, there's really one, you know what I mean? There's one way you could go. And that's all that insecurity. So now it's like, you're going to stop feeling bad for yourself. And then if you're feeling insecure, you're going to go get that better body. And then you'll feel better about yourself. Once you get that, that's one insecurity that you get off of your plate because now you're feeling better about yourself. Once you start feeling better about yourself, those things start hitting.
No, the only
reason those insecurities are in your mind is because you know you're supposed to be doing something and you're not doing it and you're letting yourself fall. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So once you're letting yourself fall, that's when you start having those insecurities and stuff. But if you're taking care of business and if those insecurities are making you take care of business, then those insecurities are going to start to fall off because now you're taking care of business. You're starting to take care of yourself like you know you're supposed to. So basically those things are like, those insecurities are things you know you're supposed to be doing that you're not fulfilling.
Yeah, that push you forward.
You're supposed, you know what I mean? As a man, you're not supposed to be sitting on the couch all day playing a game. Like, I know somebody personally that went through that and gained a whole lot of weight, got plump and stuff. And, you know what I mean, they felt bad about it. But I'm like, you know what I mean?
You can change that.
You're feeling insecure because you're not doing what you rather do this. I just made that video on opportunity cost. It's like I could play the game or I could go to the gym, which is going to be more valuable.
100%.
I could, you know what I mean? That goes back to that.
And I agree with you that insecurities are the main thing that push people forward into becoming the person they want to become, doing the things that they need to do, not only want to do. But when I say that insecurities shouldn't be the end all be all, it's like 100%. If you're insecure, let that push you, let that make you go to the gym, let that make you become the person you want to become. You know, make that make you disciplined to the person you want to become. But like, don't let it hang over you forever. Like, let it fall off. A lot of people don't let it fall off. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, a lot of people stay with that insecurity.
But all right, if you're insecure
for a lot of their life,
if you're insecure about being overweight, and you're going to the gym and you're losing weight, why are you know what I mean? Are they still insecure about being overweight?
That's the thing. A lot of people still like
how if they lost the weight they were insecure about.
I was still when I lost 85. I was like 85. I wasn't.
Don't cap right now, bro.
I wasn't gonna say I'm insecure.
You were not insecure.
I was not insecure. I'm never really much of an insecure person, but I still had that fat on me. That I was like, damn, like.
Nah, like you wanted to. There's nothing wrong with wanting to reach new peaks. It wasn't an insecure thing. You thought you looked good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you could tell that you thought you looked good. Like, you would flex. You know what I mean?
No, trust me. I know I look good. I thought I looked good, but I'm saying like.
But you wanted to reach new peaks. You wanted to keep growing.
For sure.
There's nothing wrong. It wasn't an insecure thing. It was like, all right, I got to this level. Let's get to another level. I don't think you felt insecure about your body.
Not.
You started taking off your shirt. Before, you never took off your shirt. You used to swim with a tank top on.
Good one. I was never that good. Man, I used to have my shirt off even when I was 280. I was used to be dancing at 280 with my shirt off. I didn't care whether I was 195 or 280. I was always on my shirt off.
Nah, that's crazy.
But fucking, he said that shit was the same time. That's it. Nah, let me not even say that. But fucking, I meant insecurity in a way where like, I 100% agree with you. Let it push you, but don't let it, again, be the end all be all. Don't be insecure for the rest of your life. Learn how to like, let it fall off. Like, do what you need to do. Get a great body. And then live your life, you know what I mean? But I feel like even some of the richest people in the world, some of the, world's billionaires or whatever, probably are insecure too, with just certain reasons, different reasons. But like, they don't really let those insecurities, like, I'm not even gonna say they don't let the insecurities fly off. They just still have them. It's insecurities, to let them go is a lot harder than it looks like, even when you reach that level. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some people still hold on to it.
Well, that's different, because, like, just because you got money don't mean you are taking care, like, you became financially free. But that doesn't mean real world problems stop. You could be financially free and still be overweight.
Yeah, 100%.
You could be financially free and still have a lot of relationship problems. Because there's a balance to it. Just because you stuck your head in the ground and you worked financially doesn't mean you balance out your whole life. Because money doesn't solve every issue. Money solves a lot of issues, though. I would rather have first world problems.
Everything it solves, but
No, it doesn't solve everything.
I said financially. Financially.
Yeah. I would rather have first world problems than third world problems. I would rather have problems like, where am I gonna fit all my cars, instead of having problems like, yo, how am I gonna pay my car bill?
Yeah,
you know what 100%. I mean? Like, I would rather be like, yo, I gotta go build a whole new garage because I have 7 brand new cars and I don't know where to park them.
Yeah, those are good issues.
Those are good problems.
Good
I want those problems.
I want those problems. You want the good issues. You want the good issues.
I want those problems.
And I feel like when it comes to, this is a little getting off topic, but when it comes to like wealth and financials, I feel like people see as having a lot of money is a bad thing. Like,
we could do a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, a whole nother podcast on that.
We could do a whole nother podcast on that. We could do a podcast on actually coming up soon. We actually have a very special guest that we're not gonna reveal yet.
Yeah,
but we're gonna talk about money.
He said, "Don't reveal it."
Don't reveal it. Don't get out.
Coming,
come on, man. Come on.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon. But it's gonna be exciting. I'm excited for this one a lot.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some money. We're gonna talk about some money.
Yeah, we go way back. And also keep commenting, subscribe. Comment what you guys want us to, keep talking about, just like how we did with this is the part 2 to Hope's question. We not only do we want this, but we need this. We want to interact with you guys more. We want the questions. Bring them as many questions as you can. We will answer everything. We will do our best to answer everything you need us to answer and want us to answer and have a conversation with us. So definitely do that.
Yeah, and as he said, that's great. And then I know we were ending yet.
No, I wasn't ending. I'm just saying.
We're ending now. If you're stuck at the bottom, there's only one way up, and that's the elevate.
I'ma turn to the brand. I'ma go make me some enemies. Not being low key, about to come up. I run up on anybody, do a show, and I bet they gon' know me. In the shit till I'm lonely. I've been low so sad. I bow to the homie.